Page's clock, and he's singing that song, Heil, Heil, right in the Fuhrer's face, and he was like making a mustache or something. And everybody was happy and singing, and it was interesting.
Nice.
It was the movies. We had movies. We were able to go to those, which was nice. But the bus schedules didn't run that much with gasoline, and we didn't have a car, so it didn't matter. But
you couldn't get gas if you had one.
You couldn't get the gas, even if you had one. So.
Oh yeah, we saw examples of propaganda and stuff, and there was one that was, if you're riding alone, you're riding with Hitler and all of this stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that in school, in your class?
Yeah, we saw that, yeah.
Yeah, that must be an interesting, what class was that?
Oh, it's
Modern
just
history,
U.S. history.
Social
U.S.
studies.
history too, yeah. We saw a lot of propaganda. Did you see any, like, posters and stuff?
Well, you know, I was probably too young to recognize it. And, you know,
fair enough.
when you're just in high school, you know, there's a war going on. But you could spot a lot of propaganda now. One guy on one side says one thing and somebody on the other side says another, and you say, oh, that guy's, you know, that's not true. But we were young.
Yeah.
And I'm not a seamstress, Nina, but even getting nice clothes, the girl next door and I, we made a white coat for the summertime, like Easter, springtime. It wasn't that good, but we didn't know how to sew, but we wore it. And you know, nobody cared because you took what clothes you could. But my mother was a good cook, and she could still cook anything, you know. And of course, I don't even think we had refrigerators back then.
No, you had an icebox.
I know we had an icebox. You know,
It's just like a cabinet with a couple of doors in the front. And the Iceman would drive around every day and come in with a hunk of ice, just put it in there and keep things refrigerated, you know? There was no plug-in power or anything.
And there was no ice cubes. In fact, I was in the cellar there a few days back, and I saw on the table an old ice pick, you know, and there'd be a pan underneath.
To get the water.
And the water.
Dripping, yeah.
And
you had to make sure you emptied that every day, too.
Every day, emptied water, either twice a day or whatever, but, you know, hardship never hurt anyone. And that really wasn't hardship for us.
In the wells. Yeah, she was saying Russian people kept food in the wells.
Oh, wells.
The well down the ground.
Yeah.
Now, were your people from farm country or the cities or?
Farm.
Yeah, you were out in the country, yeah, which was, but hey, you managed. The milkman came to the door, the cleaner came to the door, the guy who sold chickens and eggs, he came to the door.
Oh, wow.
So you didn't need a car. The cleaner came to the door, yeah, so they all showed up. And our washing machine wasn't an automatic either. It was one of these you feed the...
Oh, yeah.
But as time went on, and after the war, they started making things, and when we got our first television, Jackie Gleason was the big hit. I don't know if you know of him, but he was an old comedian, and he was good. Yeah, he was good.
We learned about Frank Sinatra. I mean, Frank Sinatra, yeah, stories.
Oh, yeah, everybody liked Frank Sinatra. And all the girls supposedly were, Frank Sinatra.
Yep, we saw videos, it was ridiculous.
And you know, when he first started out, I saw a TV show of old music. And even as a young man, he wasn't in the army, he was too young. But he was a skinny little, I mean, you're twice as tall as he was. And they said he looked like a stiff wind would blow him over. He looked like, boy, what a singer. The girl loved him. Yeah. And that Murray kid, remember the Murrays, Johnny, up on 4th Avenue, Ben Murray?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess he was in the army. Maybe he'd come back or he hadn't gone in. But he had a zoot suit. Oh, God. You ever see a zoot suit?
I've seen a zoot suit.
Aren't they ugly? But they probably
That
think...
was a style.
I know, it was a style.
It was a style.
He had a long watch chain,
one.
and a long jacket, and a crazy hat he wore. But, you know, it was the style, it was right. Yeah.
That's fair.
That's what we had. But my father worked as a milkman, and he also had a part-time job because, you know, people were scarce. He delivered for a meat packing down out of Lawrence, which is, you know, everybody helped out. Yeah, so here we are, and Johnny was over in India checking out the pyramids or whatever.
Oh, I didn't have it too bad, you know.
Yeah. Although it was funny, he was in India, and they used to post the fatalities and who was killed in action. And it was on the front page of the Lowell Sun, the newspaper, just the name, John O'Sullivan, Lowell native or something, killed. Well, my mother, of course, she knew he wasn't.
Yeah.
It was in the paper, but a couple of these old lady friends of hers called up to express their regrets and to say how sorry. And his name was John O'Sullivan too, but he lived, you know, in another section of town, but everybody knew each other and you saw a name. And we had a little flag in the front door with stars for how many people in the family were
Yeah, we learned about those.
away. So it was a busy time, but it wasn't all bad. You know, we really, in this country,
It wasn't bad.
we had it good, but you know, over in Europe, they had it tough.
Well, they were involved in the war.
Civilian attacks.
Yeah, they, you know, just like now, where the war is happening, it's not much fun. Yeah, so what do you think? Are there any more questions on there you have to, that you didn't get?
Well, I don't know, did you see, because we learned that people would like donate scraps of metal or whatever they had, and even little kids would throw like supplies into big piles, but
Well,
is that more in the cities?
Rubber.
I saw on TV.
Rubber bands, you know, you save those. And I think tin cans too, they rinse them and they use them for something. And they had, something else we save little savings stamps, you know how they sell savings bonds?
Yeah.
You know, buy bonds today and all that. But we, the kids in school, we had little booklets, and every week you would buy one savings stamp. There was a quarter. And then I think they cost the bonds $18.50 for a whole bond. Once you filled your book, they gave you a bond.
Nice.
So, you know, it was fun in that respect. So we all saved our money, but we didn't, we had it pretty good.
Did you see more women working and everything? Because
Yes, women who never worked before. Yeah. In fact, my mother, who never worked outside the home once she got married, she took a job somewhere in stitching shirts or whatever it were. She hated it. I think she was so tired, and she didn't have to do it, but just guess she felt she should. She was so tired, so she lasted. I think she stayed for about a week, and she gave it up. You know, you know, you can't force yourself to do it, and it's something she would never done before. Yeah, that we had, but the women did work. In fact, some of the women went in the Army, a WWII, I think that's what they called it, WWII. And the Navy, I think, were waves. And Coast Guard spas, does that sound?
Yeah,
That
something
sounded
whatever
right.
they were, yeah.
Spas. But they did, and of course, nurses,
Yeah.
they went wherever. You know, I don't know, I don't say, they weren't drafted, but.
Yeah, we learned that the Army encouraged nurses, or encouraged women to become nurses, and then they said that after the war you could still be a nurse, so they would give you education for free.
Oh yeah, and it was good. A lot of them went to college afterwards. In fact, we were talking last night, the park down there on Woodward Avenue, we used to call it the cow field,